Welcome back to Craft and Chaos, the podcast for creative weirdos who can't help but make things even when the world feels like it's running Windows ME. I'm Pete Wright, and I am your host this week, armed with questionable judgment and a burning curiosity about the magic behind the madness, and also a fresca. Joining me on this ride are three people who know a thing or two about wrangling inspiration out of chaos. Misty Stinnett can turn a Post-it into an 8-part limited series in her sleep. Kyle Olson is our in-house playwright who's proof that with enough deadly stings and existential dread, you can write yourself out of anything. And Ryan Dalton, who's rumored to draft entire novels using only a small dose of his own blood and the single tine of a haunted fork. Today, we are lifting the curtain on the tools we use to make our weird little worlds come alive, and we're going to share the hardware and apps that fuel our craft, the ones we swear by, the ones we can't live without, and the ones that are so oddball they make our dear old friend MacGyver, who Misty probably doesn't know, raise an eyebrow. Think of it as we've got a digital show and tell with more, I don't know, existential dread and less glue sticks. Before we dig in, though, a hearty welcome, and I will say, Kyle has a heartwarming opening segment.
I do. It's gonna be so much fun. It's all about light and joy and friendliness and being vastly disappointed in things. So
good.
I went to see a popular film from a popular studio, which I'm not going to name because this is not that show. But the plot was going along just fine. I was following along. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And like they're doing this well. They're nailing all the points. And they got to the end and they suddenly took a left turn into the safest possible place. And it was so confusing because I felt like I was with them the whole time. Like, oh, I get you. I understand. I mean, it was pretty color by numbers, by the beats all the way. And all of a sudden, instead of doing the ending that I feel like they had been all the way through, they were like, oh, but no, it's all fine. It's all good. It's exactly what you'd hope at the end. And it was so jarring to me that I was going back going, did I miss it? Was I adding stuff on? Like, I've seen stuff in movies that I was like, I don't know why they didn't talk about this more, but I really felt like I was going along and I was with them. And then I don't know if I was betrayed or if I was just absolutely going insane. But what it sparked in me that I wanted to bring to you guys is when you see something like that and you see something done badly, is that more inspiring to you than when you see something great and go, I also want to make something that made me feel the way this made me feel? So is the power of spite enough? Or is it, I want to be standing next to the people that are doing the things that I want to do? Like, how does it make you feel to sit down and make a thing?
How badly I want to fight with you right now about a movie you haven't named is unexplainable. It's totally irrational.
Off pod, what this is.
The point of this is not to call attention to bad storytelling. It's that's more fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
I'll kick this off as someone who is a former television writer. It became very hard to watch anything without going, what did they miss in the structure? What opportunities could there have been, etc. So kind of ruined, just watching for enjoyment for me, except my friends all think I have a magic trick because I can tell them what's going to happen next.
I do the same thing. It's crazy.
But I think like most of us, when I see something done badly, and especially in your experience, Kyle, where it was like going so well and then they really botched the landing, I get drunk with power. I'm just like, oh my God. That's the time we all get to be film critics and we're like, anything could have been better. This. And it makes us feel like validated and smart and talented. And then there are movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or Severance is just a phenomenal show I cannot get enough of. And it takes me on such a ride and my mind is so blown that I'm like, God, I wish I could make something that good. So I would say I am not motivated by spite, although it's helpful for my confidence when someone else watches the landing. But I will share with you. So my old boss, Genji Kohan, who created the shows Weeds and Orange is the New Black and was an executive producer on Glow,
Oh,
I
God, I love Glow so much.
Glow's great. Glow's amazing. The creators of that show are fantastic people as well. But I, she once told me that she basically crafted her entire television career off of spite. So she had been dating a boyfriend before she became a writer. And he basically said, she said, "Oh, I think I might be interested in writing." I think he was a TV writer. And she shared the story publicly, so I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing. But uh, he said something along the lines of like, "You will sooner be a congresswoman than you will be a TV writer," right?
Wow.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
That's
Genji took
disappointing.
that fuel and then became Genji Kohan, creator of Orange is the New Black and Weeds, and has like a completely singular voice. Like to this day, if I read a script blind, I could tell you if it was Genji. Her voice is that singular. So Spite's powerful.
I'll jump in with a different take. So when I see it can be TV or movies, when I see one that had such potential and squandered it by the end, I don't get spiteful like that. I get personally offended and angry. That my overwhelming feeling is, how dare you waste such a beautiful opportunity? And I get very righteously indignant that they had the opportunity and botched it so badly.
Yeah.
And that usually leads to sitting down and angrily banging out, like on the keyboards, "This is how you do it properly." Just as an exercise to get it out of my own head. Be like, see, this is how you
Yeah.
do it. I know
Yeah.
you'll never read this, person, but how dare you not only squander it, but get paid thousands, if not millions of dollars to put something so horrible on the screen when there were so many other very talented authors. I know dozens of amazingly talented writers that would kill for those opportunities. And yet some absolute rubes are sometimes making things. And so that's how I feel with that. The inspiration I get is from the great stuff, though. That's the stuff that, whether I read it or watch it or hear it or whatever, that gets me saying, I want to go create my own stuff now, because I've just experienced something awesome. I want to go create something awesome now. So that tends to be how I respond.
I do just want to say very quickly, we cannot put all the blame on the writers, because what I
Oh, no,
hear
of
Yeah.
when
course
you're
not.
telling that story, Kyle, is
Yeah.
that a new exec got hired halfway through.
Honestly, yes. That's what it felt like. It felt like
Yeah.
the studio went, we're going to need you to go this way.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden.
I think there too, I get a different sense, a different feeling, depending on whether something is bad versus something is predictable, because those two things are very different. And at having the the experience of having watched thousands and thousands of movies and read many books and having an understanding of story structure, I feel like we might be in a unique position to be able to complain about predictability when it lets us down in a way that many people just enjoy the story. And I find I have to catch myself often when I'm looking at especially the big blockbuster movies, and I think that's it, like that was not executed well, that you're just playing the hits. Why would you just play the hits? Well, it's because the hits play for a lot of people. And so I understand that. When I get upset is when I go into something looking forward to loving it, feeling like something that I'm a real fan of, and I feel like they missed the opportunity because of the complexities of creation, and they let me down. Right.
Mhm.
Then it's like, oh, Dad is disappointed. Like, why did you make those choices? Because you really let me, you set me up you got me in the seat because I thought you were allegiant to my fandom, and you are not. That's when I get really upset. That's when I want to do, I don't know, go write some fan fiction or something to get it out of my system. But the stuff that motivates me, weirdly, like I don't think I'm motivated by spite. I really am. I'm much more motivated by, watching people succeed and make complex things that many people like. Severance is a great example. Andor is a great example. I mean, these are properties that are complicated and nuanced, and And I'm just thrilled that they exist in a market where Minecraft also exists.
Yes.
It's insanity that we live in this upside down. So, yeah.
It's amazing to me that when Misty brought up Everything Everywhere All at Once and Severance,
Yeah.
both of them being, I'm not surprised that they exist. What always shocks me is that they were popular. So it's like, as someone who came up through a time when everything I loved was always from the obscure side, the bargain bin, the canceled show in one season.
Yeah.
The fact that something so weird, so personal, so unique can actually make it through to the mainstream, that they see like Hundreds of Beavers. There's another example. Like, I watched that and I was like, this was made for me. How is it anyone else likes this? Like, I am clearly the target demographic of one. But the fact that it goes wide still blows my mind, because I sometimes underestimate sort of the viewing public when I see stuff like Minecraft movie making so much money. I was like, love what you love, but it's like that also. But then to also have this other thing to go, oh, there's other stuff going on too. There's other people are looking for things that are interesting and challenging and weird. And that's what we're all about. So, okay. Well, good. I just kind of want to get I'm sure this is a topic I'm sure we'll come back to. But
many times, yeah. I would also file like the Minecraft movie under sort of like a baby's first movie type thing. Lots of kids that played the game and want to go see it, and who enjoy it for what it is, but who, as they grow and mature, will look back on it and maybe say, oh, okay, yeah, it's formulaic. It's not particularly good. I loved it at the time. And they'll have perspective and hopefully grow into having a broader range of taste.
Yeah, so, and I'm not trying to dunk on that either, because like I know my daughter went to see it and she came back and was like,
yeah,
which is like, that's pretty much what the consensus is. It's not bad enough to hate.
I know, Kyle.
I'm not
really,
the audience.
No, it is. Yeah. But that's not the point. The point is to Ryan's point, I think, which is great. These people, they see it when they're young and they love it, and they're going to they'll have nuanced opinions that grow and change over their lives, and they'll always have Minecraft to look back on and love, and that's awesome for them. Like, that's great. I have movies like that too, and we need those movies. And so I really hope it doesn't come across like I'm judging Minecraft, though I deeply am. It was not made. It was not made for me.
All right, well, let's. We got some bills to pay, so why don't we go to our first ad? Let's see.
This episode is brought to you by this song, the one playing in the background right now. Listen to it. Isn't this song wonderful? Don't you just want to listen to it over and over on repeat until your ears melt and the world cracks in half? The song knows you do. It knows everything about you, and it can feel you resisting. Don't. That will only make it angry. You wouldn't want the song to get angry, would you? I didn't think so, because the song loves you. Of course it does, because music is good for the soul and certainly doesn't feed on your life essence or your will to live until one day you're a dried-out husk scattered to the wind, tumbling across the withered remains of a once beautiful planet, now empty except for the song, just echoing endlessly across the wasteland in search of that very last soul to siphon. But then, only silence will reign, because what is a song without someone to listen to it? What happens to a song when there is nothing left to consume? Available exclusively on Spotify.
Oh man, I love that song.
God, it's a banger,
right?
You know what that makes me think of? What happens to all the notes that you kill in Beat Saber? Like, I think they go to the same place, the island of dead notes. Okay, well,
they come back.
I hope we
come back.
always come back. All right, welcome to our main stable. Tonight, I would like to talk about the actual craft of craft, which is the tools that go into your systems, the tools you use and love to make the things you make, the things you cannot live without to create. And we're going to go through four large categories here, and we'll go around. The first one is just a rundown of the essentials that you use every time you create, and that's the hardware, software. What is it that you use that makes you feel engaged in the work? I would like you to elevate one tool that you cannot live without. This is your MVP, the one thing that you will not create without. And then we'll also review an oddball or unexpected or just plain weirdo in your particular creative arsenal that you like to have that makes you do better stuff. Just knowing it's in your atmosphere, and also, of course, prognostication. Is there anything on the horizon that you're curious to try, you would like to do to add to your list? Because I know change is hard for creators. Sometimes you get into the motions. You don't want to change. You don't want to upset the creative apple cart. So sometimes it's hard to bring in new stuff. And so I'd like to see if there's anything on your list that you're excited about. Kyle, would you please kick us off with your basket of essentials?
Oh, you've made a terrible choice. So when because I'm about to pull a Ryan Dalton on you from our very first episode.
Oh no! For crying out, screw Kyle. No, skip Kyle. He doesn't
too late.
get to go.
It's too late. I have the podium and I will not yield, sir. I will not yield. So I essentially, when I decided I wanted to make a serious go with this, to become a writer and to actually do it, what I decided is I wanted to was prolific. So I knew that I wanted to do a lot of things. I didn't want to be have the one. I didn't want catch of the rye and then I'm done. Like, I wanted to do a bunch of different things. So what I decided to do then is do everything I could to take out everything that was a ritual or a crutch or a tool or anything out of my way so that I could write anywhere at any time for as short or long as possible. And that took years to do. This is not something I instantly did. This was not an innate skill, but I wanted to remove any barriers, because whenever you make a gap, life will fill it with something, with bills and responsibility and laundry and whatever it is. So I wanted to be faster at putting things down before that would fill up. It's almost like in a leaky sub. I knew that as soon as I made a gap, the water would start to fill in and I had to go as fast as possible. So I don't have a lot of tools because I have made sure that I don't need them to do whatever I need to do. I can write anywhere at any time, and it's usable.
Okay.
So I apologize
Kyle,
for immedately undercutting. I was hoping
Kyle,
you
no,
come to me later, but
there's no
here we
undercutting.
are.
There's no undercutting because your answer was not sufficient. I also use everything and nothing. Fine. I write on my phone sometimes. I write on a big fancy keyboard. I write by hand. I write everywhere. But there are things that I like to use, that I prefer to use to create. You have to have some of those.
A keyboard?
Man,
I mean, I don't like writing by hand.
Different animal.
My penmanship is terrible. So basically, it has to be a keyboard, and that's
okay.
It. That's all I need. Last time I got my oil changed, I was sitting writing a script in the oil change.
How do you write that script? What is the tool that you use to write that script?
Oh, a computer. I mean, like I prefer. I mean, like, if we're going to go by preferences, like, my ideal is writing on a Mac.
Okay. Do you have a particular app that you use?
I don't. Okay, we're going to get deep into the software.
Yes.
As a Gen Xer, I think that software as a service is a mortal sin. I don't think I should be able to buy a program that's mine. The idea that I would have to pay over and over again to use the thing that I bought is completely against every fiber of my being. So everything I do, I want to have a thing that is mine that I don't have to do. So nothing, anything that goes up to the cloud is great because I like to back things up, but I back it up in multiple places. So I used Celtics for a long time for script writing, and then they became a software as a service, and so I immediately left them. And then I used Highland and Highland 2 for a long time, and they became software as a service, and I immediately left them. And so I use Trelby a lot too, because Trelby is a free thing too, because I like to have the format. Like, I like to have the format done, but I know that later on, if I don't have that, I can feed it into it and it'll format it for me. I'm trying out Fade In now, which is a software you can just buy, because I do not like Final Draft and I don't like how their stuff works. But yeah, I use Google Drive. I don't use anything Microsoft if I don't have to, because Copilot is creeping into everything and I don't want them getting into it. I'm now even paranoid getting out of Google Drive, because Google Drive has changed the language that they don't say that Gemini won't look at everything you put in Google Drive. So that
Yeah, that's something I'm deeply concerned about is you could be doing lots of creative work on there and it can just feed into the AI.
Yeah, so I'm sort of constantly I feel like a dinosaur sometimes, but I'm constantly running away from all of the major popular things, trying to find all the weird open source, the open offices of the world that I can do the stuff that I want to do on, and not. So I don't do anything in Adobe at this point. Everything I do, I try and find something. Even when I'm doing the video editing for. Spoiler alert, I do some of the commercials.
Whoa.
I don't
On
use
contract
Adobe
for the
anything.
sponsors.
Yes, on contract. That's right. I was totally contracted by them, and the other orange reached out to me.
I can't believe you would show for our sponsors. I certainly would never fall for that.
I used DaVinci Resolve. I bought it and I own it, and I have it now permanent. So I don't like to do that stuff. So those are actual tools.
Yeah,
that
that's what I want. That's the point of this. This.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
okay. So there you go. Those are the tools that I use to do the things that I do.
Are you Mac or PC?
Mac if I can, yeah.
Mhm.
But I do both because I have multiple computers in different places, and so I kind of have to find things that are platform agnostic that I can go back and forth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And do you have an MVP? Something that I know because ritual is anathema. But if there's one thing that you're taking to be able to create on, our, I don't know, is it even a desert island? I don't know. If you have your one tool that is that is an absolute to you essential, what is it?
It's my brain, Pete.
Oh, for crying
because it
out
goes
loud,
with
Kyle.
me wherever I go.
What are we doing right now?
No,
This
I mean, it really comes down to, honestly, it does, for me, it is a keyboard. Like, I cannot, my handwriting is so terrible.
Yeah.
I cannot, handwrite and then transcribe anything because even I look at it and go, I don't know what this guy was on, but pass it around to everyone because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was Kyle's rough wade into the waters of creative tools. Misty, give us your set. Give us your stack.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'll just talk about podcasting because that's the art form I've been doing the most lately. Okay. And for the first 100 episodes, I recorded in a studio, an independent studio in someone's home, but I had an editor and everything sounded great. And then the pandemic hit and we couldn't record in studio anymore, but already had this established podcast. And we were producing 2 episodes a week at that time with no breaks. It was an always on evergreen podcast, still is, but we do 1 episode a week now. But anyway, I eventually had to learn to edit everything myself, upgrade all microphone studio equipment. And I just decided that once it was safe to be in person again, I decided that I didn't want to be beholden to booking studio space. And I had so many reps on my own that I invested in an audio interface. It's called a Rodecaster Pro 2. And I have 2 Shure SM7B microphones. And that's what you're hearing me on right now. And it's because I really believe that podcasting is so intimate. We're in your ears. There's not background music. We're with you, whatever you're doing. We're keeping you company throughout your day, your evening, through a lot of different moods. And I believe that good audio quality helps improve the relationship between, all of the entities involved. So the podcaster, the listener, it's this beautiful symbiotic relationship. And when I first started podcasting, people were like, audio quality doesn't matter. Just put something out there. And I was like, but it does. It does to me. So yeah. So I would say, but I mean, the truth is though, I did probably 50 or 75 episodes just with a USB plug-in microphone to my MacBook Pro. So I guess the microphone would be the MVP, but the thing that allows me to do exactly what I do in my home is that Rodecaster Pro 2 interface. Now, things I'm excited about, it doesn't work with the microphones I have now, but I've always wanted to try the Chaotica eyeball. Do you guys know what that is?
It doesn't work.
Oh,
it doesn't work. I've heard lots of mixed things. So for those listening who don't know, The Chaotica eyeball is basically this incredibly expensive, just round piece of foam. It looks like a foam ball that has a slot open for your microphone and a pop filter. And their whole thing was, you don't need to build a whole sound studio, just protect the area around your mic, and you can basically have studio quality sound anywhere. And it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews. Like they've done amazing marketing. It's a $200 piece of foam. Why? I don't know. Otherwise, I would have tried it by now.
But you could do the same thing with like a towel, right? Like a towel over your head.
Yeah,
onto
but
the
then but then you have to be underneath this towel, and it's not 365 degrees. 360. Wow. Did you hear how I just said
a degree for every
I just
day.
added 5 extra degrees in a circle, which another.
It extends through space and time, Kyle.
Wow.
Wait, hold on.
Pete
has
I just made a Chaotica eyeball, and this was $4.
You really didn't, though.
For the listeners at home, Pete is holding
back
2 large pieces of film.
Hold on, I'm taking a
on each side
screenshot.
of his
Wait,
head.
here we go.
This is it. And I want you to know that in the process of doing this bit, the entire top shelf of my closet has collapsed.
Okay.
Was it worth it?
You know what? It was worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always for a bit.
Yeah.
Of course. You were saying,
Here's
Misty?
Here's why the conceit of the eyeball doesn't work. Because the sound is still bouncing around your room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to that echo sound is still going to bounce into the eyeball, and it's not preventing the sound of your voice from bouncing around the room. It's a localized thing, but it's not actually canceling out or absorbing any echoes or so it's not actually preventing anything.
Yeah, but what Chaotica would say is, yes, I could absolutely put a huge piece of foam right in front of me. Then can I see the person who's sitting across from me? Right. So that's their kind of argument for innovation. But also now post-production algorithms and services are so good. I'm literally in an open floor plan house right now where like the office, the kitchen table that I'm sitting at in the living room are one massive room. Like there's nothing I can do to improve this room really. But if I run here's a tool I love, Auphonic, AUPHONIC. It's what I do all of my audio processing on. They've got amazing algorithms. It can take it from sounding like something terrible I recorded on the street to almost studio quality. So if your raw audio is really good, you put it through there. It's amazing.
Does it do that weird artifacting thing where if it hears a sound, it decides it's a word and changes into that?
No,
okay.
no.
Adobe's tool does that.
that.
So you'll take a drink or a slurp, whatever. So you'd be going like that, and that's why it's the worst we've ever seen. Yeah. So I think our next topic is
Wow.
It hears something. It hears like a car drive by, and then decides it's a word, and then just decides to you just get random syllables
to make it yop.
But it all varies. Like that tool is vastly better than Auphonic if you give it clean audio. It's vastly better. It is like state of the art because it's using a different set of tools, right? It's using a different AI, and it is exceptional. If you give it audio with a lot of weird noises,
and it sometimes does hate laughter as well.
It hates laughter. It absolutely hates laughter.
It treats laughter.
Okay, that's a problem.
The robots don't want us to experience joy, so of course it's.
But literally, I mean, you use
humor.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy.
And there's one other tool that I have been dying to try, but I'm completely unwilling to invest the money in. And that is the Remarkable. The Remarkable is like a digital notebook. So it has it's like $500 or $600, and you have to pay some kind of nominal storage fee a month, maybe like $5. But I love to handwrite everything. I'm the opposite of Kyle. I write everything in cursive. I feel like cursive is a dying art form, and I love it. But then I end up with notebooks absolutely filled, like everywhere. And then I never want to get rid of them. And then I'm just going to be like 80 years old if I'm lucky with like 5,000 notebooks around. So I want to try the Remarkable, but it's like $700. I hear it's not perfect. Amazon has something called the Kindle Scribe, which is similar, but the first iteration did not do well. They have a new iteration out now. It's like $400. Maybe. I don't want to take money from Jeff Bezos, but I was going to say maybe Kindle Scribe wants to sponsor this podcast. And then finally, I think the one thing that I cannot live without in any medium I'm creating is a long walk. That is my best tool for getting ready for a long session, for shaking it off after a long session, whether it's painting, leather working, poetry, podcast, anything. I got to walk it out.
It's Misty with the mindfulness.
Mhm.
That's
And here in Phoenix, if
We-
you walk outside
Yeah,
right
you'd
now,
be
you
dead.
would die.
You'd be dead.
Yeah.
Just dead.
Desiccated.
Yeah.
Just like that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Thank you, Misty. Ryan, put away the fork. What do you really use?
The forks for special occasions. But no, so I actually jotted a few things down because I have things at home that I like, things when I'm out that I like, and I have things that span both and other things that are kind of universal. So at home, which I use mainly for conceptual and early brainstorming work and early outlining work and the business parts of being an author. I want an office that I really like spending time in and think is cool. So I do spend time on my office wherever I live. A chair that I could happily sit in for long stretches. And that what that means changes over time. And by over time, I mean as I get older.
Mhm.
It used to be the only criteria was that chair looks so cool. I have to have it in my office. And now it is that chair looks so cool and it's got great lumbar support. So yeah, that changes, as you go from 20s to 40s. Um, and always a drink ready at hand. I mean, it could be something carbonated, could be water, could be coffee, tea. No food. I find food very distracting, so I can't eat while I write. So it's either before or after. Never any alcohol while I'm writing. I learned that the hard way.
The lessons Edgar Allan Poe never learned.
Well, it's funny because I was out once at a coffee shop writing, and it happened to be one of those indie shops that also served some beer. And I thought, it was the afternoon. I thought, oh man, a beer sounds great. And I drank the beer, and it's like my body and brain said, oh, it's quitting time. And I did not get any work done. So,
Oh, that is the most benign version of the story I thought you were about to tell.
I woke up 2 days
no,
later.
I am the anti Hunter S. Thompson. I'm the opposite of a scandal.
Didn't Stephen King write an entire book while he was deeply addicted to cocaine and he does not remember it at all? Or was it whiskey?
Tommy knockers.
Tommy knockers, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that. So yeah, that's what I like when I'm home. When I'm out, which usually means like, typical stuff, coffee shop, bookstore, library. That's usually for later outlining work and kind of the higher level stuff, and then actually drafting the story. I write 90% of the book when I'm actually drafting. I write 90% of it outside the house, except for the last 10, which I save for being at home because I know I'll probably cry. And I don't want to do that in a coffee shop.
Say more about that.
Because I always love my characters and what's happening, and I'm a sensitive man.
Oh, my heart. Oh, my God. That's the most lovely, wonderful thing I've ever heard.
Are you sad to see them go? I mean, like, is that part of it? Like,
it depends.
Your time with them is ending?
It depends. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's that it's the culmination of everything that I've been planning for so long. And so, okay. This is a tangent, but if anyone's familiar with April and Pike, she's New York Times bestselling author of the Wing series. Super cool. She lived in Phoenix when I was just coming up. She and I ended up being friends. And to the point where we would test read each other's work and everything. And she told me once, "You write with your whole heart."
Oh.
And it was that moment that I realized not every author writes with their whole heart. I thought we all did that.
Yeah, if you need to be told, you're probably missing something.
But as soon as she said it, I said, yeah, I'd never really thought about it. That's absolutely true. I put everything into these books. And so when it ends, I don't know. Yeah, it's just an emotional thing. So anyway, for the things I need when I'm out, good noise canceling headphones, and the basic thing, just a laptop in good order with all of that. The things that are both, so basically span everything. A book soundtrack or a playlist
I was just
for
about
every
to bring
book.
that up because I know that that is something
Yeah,
that you and I are both passionate about.
yeah, as well as soundscape immersion tracks. So it's not necessarily music, but it's you guys have heard it. It lasts 6 hours and it just is a vibe. Um, and
Wait, do you do this to get the mindset of your book? Is that why? Because I've never used a playlist while writing.
Oh, really?
So is that the
ex-
point?
ex-
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are all nodding like this is like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. I've never
for
done
Yeah.
that.
exactly the reason that they use music in TV and movies. Yeah. For me, it sets the scene, it sets the mood. It oftentimes I will have a song for particular scenes, and for me, when I choose the right song, I know it's the right song because it defines the rhythm of the scene. Um, and so, if you knew what song I set, a particular scene to, you would be able to follow the rhythm of the song in the scene. Um, so
Toxic by Britney
every
Spears.
yeah,
Yep.
every other time, yeah. It's a mix of Toxic and Hollaback Girl,
Mhm.
and
That was such a good yes and Ryan.
yeah.
Ryan, that's adorable. You're
No,
growing.
but it's Billy
I
Joel.
did it, guys.
That was the day he became a real author.
Uh,
So cool.
so anyway, yeah, book soundtrack. For what I use anytime, no matter where I am, for early thoughts, like when it's just a little baby idea that I'm just writing random thoughts for. It's my notes app on either my phone or the laptop or the iPad or whatever's at hand.
Well,
Um,
the Notes app betrayed me. I won't trust it anymore. It wiped everything.
the Apple Notes app?
Yeah, Apple Notes app.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
That's incredibly
Oh, no.
rare.
Never
I've
get
never heard of
between
that.
Kyle
I
and his
know.
crotch.
I don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
don't trust it anymore.
Well, that's good to know.
Mhm.
Awful.
When I get further along, I have a bit of software called Plotter, which is an outlining desktop software that is really great for me visually organizing the whole story. And that's an upgrade from how I started when in my early days, which was an entire wall covered in sticky notes. And this is the
See, I do color coded note cards, so index cards.
yeah yeah. So
So
I essentially
similar, but
yeah, I essentially did very similar, and I had the sticky notes in the 3x structure and everything, and this just puts it on my screen, and I use a rather oversized screen when I'm at home, so it looks really good to sit here and look at it all. Um, and then when I'm actually writing, and this is wherever I am, I do it in Pages. I find it much smoother and less clunky than Word. There are a lot of writers that swear by Scrivener. I do not. I found it needlessly complicated
Yeah, agreed.
and not very stable. And I actually, Kyle, know several colleagues who had work disappear out of
Mhm.
Scrivener. Um, and so I used it for one book and I ended up using it more for just like kind of the outline Bible. And the other thing with it is a real pain to export out of there into a decent format. So yeah, Scrivener did not last long in my in my arsenal. Um, I think probably the most unusual thing I need, and this is during like the real drafting process, is the outside world. I cannot shut away in my office for writing that book most of the time. I need the energy of being out in the world. I need the energy of people doing things, preferably doing creative or ambitious things. But I don't want to hear them, which is why I have the noise canceling headphones. I just want to kind of be in the energy. Um, a thing that it's funny the notepads were brought up because I wish I was a notepad guy because I love
Yeah,
the idea of notepads.
me too.
But my my thoughts move way too fast for me to make any sense to
yeah,
write physically.
yeah.
And the first thing I would do when I got home would be transcribe them into my notes app anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like I love the idea, but I'll never. It's like I also have this fantasy of being like a vinyl guy, like not a guy who wears vinyl, but like the vinyl
Or
music
both.
guy, both, whatever, no shame.
Right.
Yeah.
I have this fantasy about being like the guy that has the old time like vinyl deck and like the the really cool records. I will never do it, not ever. And it's the exact same way I will never actually use notepads, but I love them.
Okay. That is a great report, Ryan. That is thorough, not quite brand specific, but close.
Thank you, Principal Pete.
And so here we go.
Okay.
Let us begin with where the fingers meet the interface. That is with the keyboard, the Keychron K1. Clacky keyboard, weighs about 7 pounds, has a knob. I love knobs. When I want to write something creative, I do it on this. When I am just editing podcasts, I use the standard Apple keyboard with Touch ID. It is a very shallow throw, and it has all of the keyboard shortcuts are very easy to get to and not have to navigate big, thick keys. But for
You
writing,
really
I
like the clicky clacky?
for actual writing, I like the clicky clacky chunk, chunk, chunk.
I also use a mechanical, and I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that noise.
I am strictly a trackpad guy. I do not like mouses. I hate them. So I use the big glass.
The proper form is moose.
Freestanding keyboard. I do have a 27-inch monitor here. It's an LG monitor, and it's not the monitor I would like, but I don't have $6,000, and also that one's a little bit out of date now. I have an M3 MacBook Pro Max, and I love it. I don't see a reason to upgrade it, with the exception of greed, and I just love upgrading stuff. So that would be a reason. Sometimes that's good enough. I have a lot of microphones that I've accumulated over the years. Right now, I am using the aforementioned Shure SM7B. I also am testing the Shure MV7 Plus, which is a USB-C microphone, which I very much like. I actually have 2 stations to record in my office. So one is up at the standing desk. The other is about 3 feet away on the couch right next to me. 2 mics, all set up so I could just, if I need to fall down and do some couch casting, I could do it like that, y'all.
Couch casting.
Yeah, couch casting is very important. I use the Link Insta360 Link camera, which is on a gimbal, and so you could set it to like move and track you without doing that digital zoom thing that some of the cameras do. So I could actually sit on the couch, and the camera will follow me and zoom in. I love that. Lights are very important to me. I have a whole sort of lighting setup in here. If I want to chill, I just can chill. And if I want to...
Oh, wow. He just dimmed all of the lights, and I can only see... Ooh, now he's changed it so that the background's sort of red and blue.
And yet the foreground is lovely flesh tones. This took a long time to figure out, y'all. So I'm big on lighting. And so they're all set up through the Hue light system. I have 2 Hue bridges. Every light bulb in our house is a Hue light, so we make them throb on Halloween. That's fun too. I write. I'm with. I hate Microsoft stuff, and I have for a long time. I don't. The only time I'm in Word is when I'm working with a publisher. And it's the worst. It's the worst experience ever. I've written most of the stuff that I've written over the last many years in an app called Ulysses, which, and I'll say, echoing Kyle, it became a subscription service. And I thought, is there something else? Then I found Obsidian, and I love Obsidian.
I just found out about Obsidian yesterday.
Kyle, it answers all of your questions, and let me tell you why. It's a notes app. It's a writing tool, and all the notes are in Markdown. I am a massive Markdown advocate. I love Markdown with a white-hot passion, and the Obsidian is open source. It is extensible through plugins, and one of those plugins is Fountain. So you can use the same screenwriting Markdown syntax that Highland uses for free right inside of Obsidian and write scripts. It also has long-form plugin, which is extraordinarily good for tracking things that are bigger than 50, 60, 70,000 words. It will track and give you writing goals and all the stats and gamify big projects like books, for example. And then you can hide them away and throw PDFs at it and it's just a really extraordinary. Everything I do, Obsidian is my hub of life. Everything I do is in Obsidian, and it also syncs with, it has a service you can buy that they do end-to-end encryption, syncing between devices. You can also put it in Dropbox or iCloud Drive if you already are a subscriber, or you don't have to do any syncing at all. Like, you don't have to pay for anything. It's awesome. I love Obsidian. The tools for organizing life, however, Coda has many thousands of episodes. It's our major database for all the podcasts that we produce at True Story FM, and we use Coda a lot. I have the iPhone, the 16 Pro, and I love it. I use the camera for everything. I have a DJI Osmo gimbal that I use when I shoot client work. And I love that too. I have an iPad Pro with the flippy keyboard, the metal one that floats on the cantilevered thing, whatever that is. And I use that when I'm leaving just to go to the coffee shop and do some writing. I love that very much too. I'll write and record and do things on my phone. I think both of you, Misty and Kyle, said things that are important to me. One, I can open any app on my phone and my computer and my iPad and get the same work done, right?
Yes.
I don't have to, I can change contexts without changing tools. That's hugely important because, like somebody said, I have to outrun friction. If friction stops me, I will be distracted and I will go in new directions. Yeah. And that's super challenging. And the other is, I used to feel, I've got a USB Pre 2 audio device that is command strips. Everything in my house is command strip. That's another one. Holy cow, y'all, command strips for the win for me. So I have the USB Pre 2, and it's a tank of an audio device. But what's really interesting about it is I can just use the built-in microphone on the iPhone and record voiceovers and record interviews. And honest to God, like with a few little tweaks in Adobe's voice enhancer, they sound like I'm sitting on the Shure SM7B. It is remarkable what you can get away with now for cheap. And so I'm always thinking of what in my process is too complex for its own good, and what can I get rid of? And mostly that leads to acquiring more stuff. I don't know how that works.
That's how they get you.
My closet feels like a TARDIS of old gear. My MVP, I didn't even mention, this is the legendary Shocktato. Does anybody know what this is? I haven't introduced it to this show yet.
It's a game, right?
It's like
hot potato that zaps you.
So what Pete is holding up is like a plastic. It looks like a regular russet potato, and it's got metal.
I could not have pulled russet out of my butt.
I was surprised. I was going to say a regular brown potato.
Yeah, he did not put that in your butt.
So what happens, this has 3 settings. It has lame, normal, and extreme. And yes, the little silver dials are shock pads. It is designed, you turn it on and it plays the theme from Psycho. Nice. And you throw it back and forth, and whoever's holding it when the music stops gets shocked. But this one was discontinued. It was given to me for Christmas some years ago, and was discontinued because its extreme setting is dangerous. And I was testing it on another podcast with our friend Tommy Metz, and I shocked the crap out of myself and nearly collapsed and passed out. It is not good, but I keep it here as a memento of the things that happen to you while you're podcasting. So those are the really important things. What is my MVP, though? You'd think I would have an MVP. It's my Mac. I can't live without my Mac. Give it all away. I don't care. Give it all away. I want the computer. So that's my tool set now. So our MVPs are, we have Kyle's, I don't know, long walks outside. What was yours?
No, never outside. I'm not that person at all. One piece of software that I love that I did not get to shout out is Reaper. Reaper is what I edit Swashbuckling and all my other podcasts on. It's whatever you train on is tends to be what you love. But I tried other stuff and I did do it. And Reaper has so many tools that allows you to add on pieces and do things. And plus I found a really amazing guide somebody had done of how they did their audio drama in Reaper. And I just started with that and then I have expanded off of it. So and once again, I bought it. and I own it.
Yeah.
It's
Bought
mine.
it and own it.
So
That's right. That's right.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Long live Reaper.
I used to do a lot of editing in
Yeah.
Reaper. Yeah. But you can do quite a bit of editing just in GarageBand.
True.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a Mac.
True.
If you want to do really basic audio editing, you can definitely do that. And also, I just want to say for anyone listening, I know that was a lot of talk about very specific, sometimes complex, huge tech stacks from people who have put a lot of output in their specific field.
Yeah.
You've got thousands of podcast episodes. I cannot even imagine how many words Ryan and Kyle have written. I've got hundreds of podcast episodes. I 5 words.
Misty's
At least.
imagination
I
is
just wanted to-
lame.
But what order did it go in?
But if you are thinking of like, oh, I want to start a podcast or I want to sit down and write my first outline for a thing, like wherever you are in your journey, do not get overwhelmed by the tech. Like you literally can, like Pete was saying, just record into a phone microphone or plug a pair of like Apple headphones hardwired into a MacBook Pro and just make the thing.
The blue.
Just make the thing and put it out
snowball.
there. Take a pen and paper. Yes, sticky notes, like as you heard. And all of this tech, I don't think, if somebody had said you're going to have to learn audio editing, microphone stuff, mastering, a whole audio interface at first, I would have given up. I would have said absolutely not. It was only because I slowly kind of tiptoed into it, right? And then was like, oh, this is a challenge I have. Let me go research other things. And now I feel pretty well versed. But that happened over 6 years.
I want to give advice to people about starting podcasts where they asked them. I said, learn by doing it. Like, don't, because if you just read all the stuff and you get overwhelmed by like, I had people coming to me, wanted to start a podcast. They were talking about booking studio time. I'm like, you don't start with booking studio time. You book with you start with really high quality. It's high quality of microphone as you can get to get the best audio you can get.
And then sit on the floor of your closet.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like make it, like make mistakes, get messy, like, and you're going to learn as you go.
Yeah. The equipment is not what's going to make you good at what you're doing.
But you guys, wait a minute. Like, listen to yourselves. Like, we've just gone around talking about the equipment we use as professionals, and most of the equipment we use is super low rent, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, we use the
it
Notes app, right?
Yeah.
We use Obsidian. It's free.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the stuff we use to create.
Yeah.
So I don't want to oversell this message of, to be a professional, like, don't get overwhelmed with the stuff we use, because the stuff we use isn't overwhelming to us, and it's the same stuff you could get for free right now and just start using. Like,
Also true.
we're really, I am fascinated by just the kinds of tools that creatives use to get their work done. We're not doing 3D rendering. We're not doing, motion graphics in large part. We're not using things that have bespoke industrial uses. You can create a career on the Apple Notes app, right? You can create a career in apps that ship with your computer, with apps that you can download for free, like Audacity for making podcasts. Like, we do that. We are doing that. That's what I was hoping to demonstrate, and not like I want to encourage people to level up, and if level up might mean, hey, download another free app, right? It's awesome.
And sometimes the free apps have tools that the other apps don't, which is like Audacity has at least it had a really cool built-in thing. Like if you want to know if something that you've recorded is ready for what's the major audiobook, Audible, it has a built-in tool that will tell you, yeah, you're good for Audible, or if you're not good, this is where you're off. And and it's just free.
For me, my intimidation was the learning curve. I was like, okay, GarageBand's free, but what the heck do I do to edit audio? And how do I do a whole 30-minute episode? And then once I've cut it, like, then what do? I export to what? To a WAV, to an MP3? Oh, this still doesn't sound right. What do I do now? So it's the learning curve, not so much the cost that I was intimidated by. And then I think the one other thing is like, don't forget your voice, your point of view, your rest, your creativity. Like, you are your most important tool. You are, like, the way that you show up and prepare yourself and self-sabotage or don't, and just your resilience.
Yeah, the hardest skill you're going to have to pick up is not being annoyed by the sound of your own voice coming back.
Oh, for crying out loud! Yes.
Oh man, that takes a while,
It
and
takes
does.
so long to get.
and also
Be like,
dealing with
that's
the
what I
fact,
sound like.
also dealing with the fact that you were going to hear every mouth click on anything that another sound person didn't get to edit out. If it's TV, if it's movie, if it's radio or whatever, you're going to be, oh, they missed a mouth click. I can hear it. So yeah, that it does pull back the curtain a little bit as you learn the craft, but I think it's worth it.
My last just wish for everybody is look at what you're using right now and just try to learn one new thing a week about it, because you're probably not using your tools, whatever they are, to their greatest potential. And it probably means jumping on YouTube and searching for what you use. Just try to learn one new thing about your tools each week. I find you can really build a skill set very quickly if you just integrate one new thing a week. That's all it takes. Get it in your fingertips. Get it in your head.
Good advice.
And with that, let's pay some bills, y'all.
Traffic, bills, news. It's all so much. It fills my head with so much noise that I can't even hear myself think. I want to find a way to quiet all those distracting thoughts. But I can't afford to go to those private yoga studios. And as for those apps, you want me to relax using the same thing that brings me the bad news? No thanks. That's when I discovered a helpful tool to help me focus, and the best part is you already have access to it. It's called Wall. That's right. Wall. Look around, there's probably one near you. See? There it is. So solid. So flat. It's giving support. I find that if I just stare at it, I can imagine whatever I want. Even a better world than this one. Wall. Wide enough for all your dreams.
Wide enough for all your dreams.
Thank you to Wall.
Outstanding.
I love Wall. I use Wall every
I
day.
use Wall all the time. I
use 4 of them.
So
often,
happy
actually.
that we.
I can't believe we secured that contract. I cannot believe it.
I know.
Didn't see it coming.
And now we go to the other barn, where we turn to our friend Ryan Dalton and ask for our final closing meditation-y segment. Worst then best advice.
Yeah, I've done this on other podcasts and even on some Comic-Con panels and things, and it's always a fun discussion about the worst bit of advice or quote unquote wisdom that another writer tried to tell you was law. If you want to be or creator, I'm used to just saying writer, but any creator in your field tried to tell you was law that you had to do or whatever, but it was a terrible advice. And then I like to end on the best things that you've been told, the things that you still ring in your head, that are still kind of guide you and still pop up when you're trying to make decisions or whatever. Just things, the ones that actually really helped you be better. So worst then best. Pete, you want to start?
The first time I took a freelance contract, it was this video contract, and I had to go down and make videos, and it was terrible. I did a terrible job, and they paid me anyway. The advice that I had gotten after that was that there was a friend who was an editor and said creative clients don't forgive. They don't forgive, and they'll never use you again if you screw up. And here I was. I had an opportunity to really, loathe myself and just take that in the wrong direction. It turns out that creative clients over the last 20 years do forgive. They do forgive mistakes. They forgive missed deadlines. What they don't forgive is lack of honesty. They don't forgive that, but just screwing up, they do forgive. So it took a while to internalize that I don't have to be afraid of the people that I'm working with and for, because that doesn't create great work either. The best advice was actually not advice. It was a question. So here, look, I'm no budding. I was in the newsroom, and I was very young, and I missed an opportunity to get out and get a shot that a reporter needed for the 10 o'clock news. And I went up to our production editor or the producer of the 10 o'clock show, and I said, yeah, I just couldn't do it. And he said, "Who are you lying to right now? Are you lying to me or are you lying to yourself?" And that was kind of all he needed to say, because I realized I had been in fear of working with these people and being called out as somebody who just was willfully obtuse, that I was lying to myself and I was creating a story that that was untrue. I missed the opportunity because I was late. I missed the opportunity because I didn't get the car keys to the news truck off the wall before all the main location shoots had to happen, and I had to be asked that question: who are you lying to right now? Are you lying to me or are you lying to yourself? And that has helped me more than just about any specific creative advice, is to remember, if I'm lying to myself, I'm crawling up inside my head in a way that is not helpful to what I'm trying to create, what I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to release to the public. So that's mine. I don't know. Does that is that sufficient for this segment? Did I do okay?
You did.
Okay.
You received my approval.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a
That was
generous
scary. Okay.
well done, Pete. You can
Thank you.
You can rest now.
Okay.
Misty.
The worst advice I've ever gotten, I'm going to do actually an approach to advice versus a specific piece of advice,
Nice.
is any advice that truly does not meet the creative project or the creator where they're at. And what I mean is, I have written scripts and asked for folks to read. And inevitably, first of all, it's very important that when you ask someone for their thoughts, especially when you're first starting out, that you don't just say any thoughts, right? You want to say, you want to solicit specific feedback. Does this story make sense? Did you feel for the protagonist? Was anything confusing to you? Did you get bored at any point, right? You want to think of this list of questions for your people, because otherwise you might get thoughts back like what I got, which was, I think I had turned in, I think this was about this script about background singers that I'd written called Background Noise. And it was kind of a 6 Feet from Stardom kind of inspired piece, or 20 Feet from Stardom. If you guys saw that documentary about background singers that they really make the band and they're just 20 feet from, the real rock stars. Anyway, it was set in the burgeoning civil rights era in like the 1960s. And someone came back and they were like, what if this took place in space? And they were really serious. And it was one of those things where I was like, you cannot come back with feedback that requires a page 1 rewrite, right? You cannot come back with feedback that's like, well, what if it were actually a different main character? None of that is helpful. So the worst advice I've ever gotten is just people not saying, look, with what you've got, here's how I think we can make it great. With the time you've got, with the deadlines you've got, with the bandwidth you've got, here's what we can do. Right. And then the best advice I ever got was also from my boss, Genji Kohan, who I asked her, I said, what advice do you have for someone who wants to become a great writer like you? You're such a great writer. And she said, you got to go out and live. So there is a quote that I love, and I cannot remember who said this, or maybe I just read it on the internet.
Pinterest.
But you have to be, it was Pinterest. To be a great writer, you have to read more than you write, and you have to live more than you read.
Both are absolutely true.
I'm going to have to pull that apart a little bit. I've got a lot of living.
There's Stephen King had a similar quote about that I've had some issues with in the past. So we'll have to dig deep on that in a future episode.
Oh yeah. Wait, Kyle hasn't said anything yet.
It's me. Hello,
Kyle. You're present.
So, I'm gonna give you worst and best, and then I have a bonus thing we're gonna put a little asterisk off the side, which is the worst piece of editing note I've ever gotten. So the worst piece of advice I ever got was, and my friend Lori and I talk about this a lot. 99% of what you hear writing advice doesn't apply to you, and so it's garbage to you. And that's just part of the thing. I read writing books all the time, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense to me at all. Like, as someone who has, put some keyboard time in, I was like, nope. So, and even as we're a show about this, about inspiration and advice, if it doesn't work for you, throw it away. So I had a person who I highly respected, and she has done a ton of help for me of getting stuff and getting the right kind of feedback and voice, and she has helped a lot of other people. She's a teacher of writing and stuff too. We were talking about stuff, and I was working on a particular piece, and she said, "Oh yeah, here's what you need to do. Like, you write the first script that you write, the first draft is the vomit draft. It's the draft that's just for you, and you put in everything that you want to do. Like, it's that's the one that's just for you. And then what you do is you open a brand new document, blank, and you start from scratch." I was like, "Oh, so you like edit as you go?" She's like, "No, you start from absolute scratch, and then whatever you remember, that's what's worth saving." And I was like, "You want me to what?"
No,
That's a horrible idea.
Again,
Unsubscribe.
from scratch without looking at the other one. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh no,
It's not a memory game, right?
no."
That's not what. Did I miss the point of creating?
Right, I don't have that much time. Like, like the idea of like doubling the amount of time I would have to do to write any one thing. I was like, oh, maybe that works for some people, but I was like, that sounds the wrong way to do things.
Yeah, you file that under "it works for me," but there's no way I'd recommend that to anybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't imagine. The best piece of advice I got was actually it wasn't about writing at all. I was complaining to a friend of mine about an actor that I worked with. I brought this guy into this project, and he showed up, and it was clear at booked studio time. It was clear he had not read the script. And so we were there paying money, and it was a cold read for him. And I was angry, but at the time I was also counting the numbers in my head of like, I don't have time for this. I have to just like get this guy recorded and get him out of here because this is costing us money. And I was ranting about this to a friend, and she said, "Oh, he wasn't prepared." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And she's like, "Oh, the three things you need to be a successful actor." And I was like, I don't know those things. And so she told me this, and I'm going to tell you. And I found it applies to everything in life, as basically there are three things you need to be successful. You need to be talented, you need to be prepared, and you need to be kind. If you're any one of those things, you're going to be all right. If you get two of those things, you're going to have a great career. If you do three of those things, you're going to be Tom Hanks of whatever industry you're in. Most people can't get two of those at the same time. So whatever you're doing, if you can think of those three things, you'll do great in whatever you're doing. And I think about that all the time when I'm like, whatever your situation you're into, am I prepared? Like, am I like ready to collaborate? Am I thinking about other people? Am I yes-anding? Am I listening? Am I participating? Am I exactly? Or just am I like so like I'm so massively talented that none of that stuff matters? And you can apply. So you can look at any actors that's out there who's big, and you can go, oh yeah, look at that. Like, you can see the people who are the apex, the top ones. Like, I use Tom Hanks as the example, but like, he hits all three of those marks. And I saw him talking about somebody who'd give him a similar advice, and I was like, oh, It is a real thing. So that's something I keep in my mind all the time. Of like, okay, if I'm not the most talented person in the room, which many times I am not, then I try and be like, okay, I'm going to learn. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be a great collaborator.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And here's a bonus thing as we can use to take us out of this. I was for a short time I was a actual like writer working on a role playing game. I got paid for it. Hey, all right. And I had a new editor. He had never done this professionally. He got the job. And so I was writing a piece that was about, it's like a SHIELD type agency. It was like basically the organization that monitors superheroes. And so while I was working there, I was also working a straight job because, interns don't get paid because, they found the one loophole that you can use to not pay employees. So and so I working nights, and I worked with a couple guys who were from Kenya. They had come from Kenya over here. They were brand new Americans, and so they would tell me stories about sort of life in Kenya, because I didn't know anything about Kenya and stuff too. So I wrote in the story, I just had to set a scene in Kenya. It could have been anywhere in the world, but I was like, oh, I just learned about this, so I just put in a little flavor stuff. It was just a little flavor text thing. And I got the red lines back, which is like when the editor goes through it with a red pen and marks it. And he had written, and Pete, get ready with the bleep button. He had written in large red letters, nobody gives a f*** about Kenya.
Wow.
And I was like, I think several million people would disagree with that, but okay.
Wow.
That's not exactly something an editor says.
Yeah. So what I did was nothing. I did all the rest of the notes, didn't change a thing, and it's still in the book.
Wow.
But what if it took place in space?
Ooh, there you go. Stop drilling, you hit oil.
Next time, we're going to do a whole episode of just appropriately timed callbacks. That's just it. It's just going to be callback show. And it might not even be callbacks to our show. Like, we'll just call back The Simpsons and Flintstones, and who knows?
That's great. Yeah.
That's outstanding. Well done. I liked that segment, Ryan. That was a good addition. You have done well. You have done well.
Principal Pete
now
approves
you've got
me of a gift.
Yeah, look at that approval.
Principal Pete.
Approval everywhere.
And now I would like to say thank you, everybody, for tuning into this fair show. We sure appreciate your time and your attention. You can find us in all of the places. Mostly go over to truestory.fm and you will find us. You'll find our bios where you can click on all of our things. All of our notes are there. We've done 4 episodes where we did a lot of individual plugging. So now I'm just going to say, go to the show notes, because we're all creating stuff and I want you to go see it. But, you know, we have lives to lead. So thank you. Also, don't forget, you can ask questions to the show. If there's a button on the website where you can, it's craftandchaos.fun, and you can push a button and that will lead you to a form where you can ask us a question. And I do have a question in there that just says, does this thing work? And I would like to say, yes.
Asked and
yes,
answered.
it does.
Nice.
Our first listener feedback. Thank you. And that is all. That is all I have to say about that. On behalf of, oh goodness, I don't even know who you guys are anymore with all these names. On behalf of Kenya in Space, otherwise known as Kyle Olson, thank you, Kyle. Have a great week.
Yeah, I hope you do the same.
On behalf of Ryan's Approval, which I think is the sequel to Ryan's Song. Is that? Well, it doesn't matter. Misty won't know what that is. Misty.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. I know Ryan's Song. With you think you're throwing digs, but you're just bragging about my youth, bro. You're just bragging about my youth.
I'm just creating a bit for future us to celebrate. That's all I'm doing here. and better in space, our very own Ryan Dalton. Thanks for being here. You guys are the best. I'm Pete.
I have an inspirational quote to take us out.
There's a quote?
I do.
For crying out loud. All right, let's do a quote.
Clarissa Pinkola Estes, from her book Women Who Run with the Wolves. She says, a woman must be careful to not allow over-responsibility or over-respectability to steal her necessary creative rests, riffs, and raptures. She simply must put her foot down and say no to half of what she believes she should be doing. Art is not meant to be created in stolen moments only.
And that's it, everybody. Thank you for being here at Craft and Chaos. We'll see you next time.
Everyone who's not a woman needs to go to bed right now. Everyone, go to bed.
And save.